In today's episode, Sheikh Habeebul tells us about the difficulties that come with being visually impaired.
Most of the times, screen sharing is a fundamental problem for visually impaired persons because the screen is represent as pixels, so screen readers will not have access to that.
Tells us why we shouldn't discard talent because of disabilities.
They might have skills, they might have talent, but that skill is not getting nourished and it's not getting some exposure, a chance to demonstrate their abilities. So if we accommodate, I say accommodate, do not exempt us, then you will get a lot of CCIs like me.
And explains his strategy to pass your CCIE with your eyes closed.
Did you pass on the first attempt or?
No.
Okay.
So the first attempt is just the familiarization, and second attempt I strategized.
Welcome to Cisco Tech Stories, a podcast with real life stories from real life engineers. Your hosts are Nicholas and Tristan.
Welcome back to Cisco Tech Stories. I'm Nicholas, and today we're talking about what it truly means to overcome barriers in the tech world.
And I'm Tristan. We often talk about technical hurdles, but today we are focusing on a different kind of challenge, the accessibility of the system we use to prove our expertise.
Exactly. We know that brilliance comes in many forms, yet standardized testing can be a significant roadblock for many talented professionals. Some struggle with hidden disabilities like dyslexia, which can make traditional exam formats feel like an impossible mountain to climb, even for the most skilled engineers.
Other people face challenges with attention, making it incredibly difficult to focus through the 8-hour marathon that the CCIE lab exam is. Being smart and capable doesn't always mean you fit the standard mold of a test taker.
Which brings us to our guest today. We are honored to be joined by Sheikh Habeebul Haq, a senior technical leader here at Cisco. Habeebul is a trailblazer in every sense of the word. Visually impaired engineer, he didn't just ask for a seat at the table. He worked directly with the Cisco exam team to help make the CCIE accessible for everyone.
Not only did he help reshape the process, but he also coded his own tools to prepare and ultimately become the first visually impaired person in history to pass the CCIE.
It's a story of grit, innovation, and the power of inclusive design. Habeebul, thank you so much for being here with us. Let's dive into your journey. Hi, Habib.
Hello, Habib.
Hi, thank you, Tristan, thank you, Nico, for having me here.
Can you introduce yourself a little bit? Like, where do you work in Cisco? What team? What part of the world? How you joined Cisco?
So my full name is Sheikh Habeebul Haq. People call me as Habib in short. I am with Cisco for the last 11 years. I joined in 2014. Before that, I was working as a contract employee with Cisco. In fact, if you add up those 2 years, it's almost close to 13 years if you add me as a contract employee with Cisco. So I joined as a TAC engineer and then I moved as the escalation engineer, team lead, as a technical lead. So currently I'm working as a senior technical lead in the enterprise space. Specifically, I deal with architecture and routing fields. So I'm visually impaired since my birth. So how I work is I work by listening to computers. So I mean, we call them as assistive technologies. In computer, we use screen readers, and in phone also we use screen readers. In Windows, there is a screen reader called JAWS and Narrator, NVDA, and on iPhone we have VoiceOver, and Android we have TalkBack. All these devices are normal devices. It's the same computers, same phones that the people who are able to see use, but there are additional features, apps inbuilt into those devices using which I work. So it's the same computer. So if I put JAWS screen reader, I'm able to read what's on the screen. In fact, that software provides me audio feedback about what's on the screen. So that's how I do my daily work. That's how I read the case notes, how I read any documents, any chat messages that you send, email messages you send.
That's for reading, right? So for typing or writing, how does that go?
Yeah, it's the same. So if I open a notepad, for example, or if I open an email and I whatever I type, I hear that letter back. For example, if I type hi, how are you? So I will type hi, how are you, HOWARE, and there are spaces. All that feedback I get with my screen reader, and even the question mark.
It feels like for the studies, this is somewhat feasible, right, to study this way. But for work, it brings a lot of questions because people do not know you. So people are going to want to have a phone call, a WebEx call. They're like, take control of my screen. How does it work on a daily basis with those aspects?
Yeah, see, the most of the times screen sharing is a fundamental problem for visually impaired persons because the screen, when you share a screen, your screen is represent as pixels. So screen readers will not have access to that. Till now, it was difficult. Now I get some help from AI to recognize the pictures, what is displayed on the pictures. And most of the time, wherever it's possible, I avoid the WebEx sharing if it's possible by asking all the outputs in advance, asking some more outputs. It can be a large show tech. Yeah, I mean, there are some situations where I ask my colleagues if it gets out of my hand, if it becomes pretty critical. It's just by ask my colleague what's there on the screen so that I can get hold of the thread and continue from there. Yeah, but yeah, you are correct. It's the word screen sharing is the one of the challenge to work with the screen shares because it's represents as a pixel, and screen reader has no way to provide that interpretation, the feedback for that remote screen and read back what is displayed. It cannot access it programmatically as it accesses our computer and provides the feedback.
And I've seen AI describe what's on a screenshot, but even then, it's not great yet. Like it's doing now a decent job, but then it's only for screenshots, right? Live screen is just too much for an AI to describe you what's going on, I suppose.
Yeah, it's correct. So yeah, live screen is too much for the AI to describe. But especially what I need is, especially when we go on the screen, is mainly the terminal output. There are other couple of ways also I use. Sometimes I tell customers that I am visually challenged, and whatever the outputs they ask, they copy it and ping it to me also. And if I need it, in fact, I have coded using the Cisco internal chat API to capture the screen within the gap of 5 seconds, 10 seconds, which I can adjust. So it automatically sends that back to the AI vision model, and I get the recognized feedback as well. So this is the recent improvement, enhancement that I have implemented for my workflow so that I can reduce dependence.
And before AI, what has Cisco done for you to help you do your best job? Like what tools has Cisco provided? What software has Cisco provided to you?
Cisco provided, so when I say screen readers, all the screen reader, we have access to screen readers. How you have open source browser and the paid applications, how you have open source applications, paid applications. We have all this in with regards to screen readers as well. So we have open source screen reader. There is something called NVDA which works well, and there is a paid screen reader called JAWS. So Cisco InfoSec has given permission to install NVDA as well, and we have an inbuilt screen reader in Windows Narrator, which is sufficient sometimes. But there is a paid screen reader called JAWS, JAWS, which is used a lot. It's a standard screen reader. JAWS is it's used across the world by visually challenged people. So Cisco has a enterprise-wide, company-wide license for all its employees to use JAWS. So, and Cisco has also provided whatever is needed. For example, we also use a braille display. That's called braille display. Braille display, to put it in words, how I can. So it's like a monitor for you. So for people who can see, they use monitors. So braille display is an added advantage where whatever is displayed on the screen is presented in braille. Have you heard of, I understand, I don't know whether you have heard of braille script. Braille is a system of dots which is used by visually challenged persons to read with their fingertips. So if you see in the conference rooms or any other rooms, there are braille boards, so I can read them with the fingertips. It's the same way, whatever is displayed on computer screen, I can read it with the help of braille display, apart from or along with the speech that's provided by the screen reader. So I also have a braille display provided by Cisco for me as well.
Okay, and so those brailles, those are screens that do little bumps that change for every single character and sign that's on the screen, and you can just put your finger on it and read that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a
And
separate device. It's not, when I say braille display, it's not the same monitor that we have that's integrated with our laptops. It's a device, separate device. It connects via USB or Bluetooth, and it's also driven by the screen reader. In order to run the braille display, you need to have a screen reader. The screen reader sends that output to the braille display so that I can turn off speech if needed and just read with my fingertips.
and which one do you prefer?
It depends on the situations, because the braille displays are smaller. We have 40 dot and 80 dots display. That means at a time they can represent only 40 to 80 characters. So it takes a lot of space. Braille takes a lot of space. Reading 40 and 80 characters, sometimes it's inefficient. Sometimes I use audio because I can read with speed. I can review the information faster when compared with Braille. So Braille is sometimes useful when I need to read through some code, because code is not regular English. So again, screen reader also can provide us character by character reading, but sometimes reading the code, which is or any other information which is not in regular English, makes sense with braille displays.
So now let's come to the meat of it. So you're working in tech, and
Yes.
who decided to start studying for CCIE? Is it you who decided to start studying? Did you get pushed for it? How did it start?
I mean, I had CCNA in 2013. When I joined, I had a CCNA, then I got a CCNP as well. To answer your question, there was no process for CCIE lab to be delivered for visually impaired persons. Any written exam, we have a process. Cisco the partners with the Person View to deliver those exams. So we have a process where they call requesting accommodations. So what we do is we put an application to Person View and we inform that we are visually challenged, and we tell them we need some extra time and a reader and recorder. So reader and recorder is who reads the questions to us, and he records our answers as well. So they provide a separate test room. This is how the written exams work. There was no challenge in this. This is how I did CCNA and CCI written as well.
But
But
in those exams, there's some questions like you have a lab simulation, right? But it's not a proper terminal app. So can the reader read that? Can you like type the commands and everything?
yeah, I mean, those are in the small scale. The readers will be able to read. When they select scribes, usually they select who has a basics understanding of networking devices, a basic operations of networking devices. So how to go to terminal, I mean, at least he understands how to follow our instructions. Yeah, they will be able to read. So that's how the scribes are selected. But when it comes to the lab, there was no process in place to deliver the lab exam. That is when our managers, our director got involved, and we worked with the certification, learning and certification team. And it was a great collaboration, and we implemented a process as a pilot. So, which I was the first candidate to use that process, utilize that process.
So you were the first visually challenged person to pass CCIE. Is that correct?
To even try it.
Yeah.
And can you walk us through how that day went? So when you went for the lab, how did that happen? Like, what were the steps that you went through?
We had a process. Usually CCI lab, what happens, you will have a remote access. As I told, remote access with the screen reader is difficult task. And that's why they allocated a pod, and they gave me some direct access to it. They had a dedicated laptop setup, so the proctor had a dedicated laptop on which they installed a screen reader after verifying after doing all the security checks, that it does not contain any other software, other things that can compromise the integrity of the exam they evaluated. Then they permitted me to install screen reader. Then again, they again took a security evaluation, did a security evaluation of that laptop. So we validated that laptop works well a week before my exam. Then on that day, the proctor came, and we had also recorder, reader, and recorder as well there, because in CCIE you have to read a lot and also you have to configure a lot. So we had we had a scribe, so that I can read, and if whenever I need, he can pitch in and record the commands, what the commands I told. And also they doubled the time that they gave us. As it happens, it's in the other exams. So on the exam, I proctor logged into my the using my the lab ID, and he logged into the allocated pod. Then it was normal as it happens for others. For me, the only difference was the access was provided. I was able to read all the questions which they were displayed on the screen. I was able to read all those questions, and I was able to access those devices via terminal, using a terminal software.
You mentioned that they doubled the time of the exam, but if I recall correctly, the exam is like 6 hours, maybe more. So does that mean that it was spread across 2 days?
So yeah, it went on 2 days. See, if the design is 3 hours, they added 50% extra time to it, 4.5 hours. Lab is 5 hours. They gave me 7.5 hours. So 2 days.
Was it stressful to go to bed and being halfway in your exam?
Yeah, it was stressful because the design is the easiest one comparatively, because there is not much to configure there. I mean, you don't know even. I mean, you might have failed in the design itself. Whatever you are going to write tomorrow might be. I mean, it's even if you do well, if you don't pass in the design and you pass in the lab, it's not a valid result.
But you didn't know. You didn't know at that time if you passed the design part, correct? They didn't tell you.
No. I mean, because all those things are kept confidential, because I mean, even others also don't know, right? I mean, even if others are doing the exam, if even they end the design, they won't tell you have passed, you can proceed or you can leave. So yeah.
It reminds me of people at Cisco who passed the CCIE before year 2000. It was also in 2 days, and it's so stressful. Like some guys, they go to bed and they know that it's possible they have enough points in the first day, but they're like, I know I missed some questions, so I have to do like 100% perfect on day 2. And like the stress of it, I just can't imagine. I'm just glad it's back to 1 day.
Yeah, but it's for us, they cannot do, if you add up 7.5, almost it's 13 to 14 hours. This, I don't think it's pretty practical for anybody, for even for a proctor, for a candidate, or the scribe, the reader and recorder who comes to assist me. So that is why I think they came up with 2 days.
It's already nerve-wracking in 8 hours, so yeah, more. I don't think it's humanly possible.
Yeah, it's impractical. I think you will exhaust yourself, and I think your energy will deplete. So
yes. Yeah, CCIE was like one of the most stressful day I had. When I exited there, I was just empty. I just wanted to lie down and just not go to bed, but just, stare at the ceiling and just do nothing. It's exhausting. It's
that's one of the experiences. So sometimes I remember the situations and scenarios. I mean, one or the other way. Sometimes it's like I felt like a difficult customer is quizzing me. I remembered a few scenarios. I mean, it was like nostalgic. I was resolving those cases, or I was answering those questions to customer. I was feeling like that. So that is how I was able to keep myself calm and composed. It's like I'm troubleshooting a customer's network. That's what I felt. That's how I programmed my mind, so that I don't deviate and I don't lose my composure.
Right. And let me ask the elephant in the room question. Did you pass on the first attempt or?
No.
Okay.
So the first attempt is just the familiarization, because see, for visually challenged persons, what happens is how much you describe, we will not get the first hand experience, because the difficulty is you will get labs outside. You might have rental labs, or even Cisco also has practice labs, but those labs are not accessible to the screen readers at this time. So I have to follow my own methods to practice what I wanted to practice. So even I cannot purchase rental racks from outside. So I didn't get a feel of how the environment will be, um, the how it looks like. My mind didn't get that situation registered. So the first attempt was registering that environment into my mind, and that I feel confident that okay, this is how it looks. And second attempt, I strategized, okay, this is the case, and that's how I have to tackle this.
And so you got it at the second time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a
That's
bit
very good, because for me, it took 5 attempts. They put it out there, and it's exactly like you, except, okay, I guess I had it much easier, but the first time you think you know, but then you're not fast enough, you don't know how the exam works, and you just need to get used to it. For me, it took even a few more attempts to make it. So really big congrats on that.
Yeah, congrats indeed, because that was the same for me. So the first attempt, even exactly like you said, David, people can tell you how the exam is. Having it firsthand is a totally different experience, and even for me, it was really a challenge. I just cannot imagine how much more difficult it would be in your situation. Of course, yeah. So that's
I
it.
mean, I had to, for example, CML. I used the CML. CML is also not accessible with screen readers. Fortunately, I know a bit of coding. You call it vibe coding, part of steering the AI. I built a customized CML web UI so that I can practice using the API endpoints that CML provides access to. I mean, the terminal that CML has is again is not accessible with the screen readers. So I was looking how I can make it accessible. Fortunately, I came across this cockpit. Cockpit is, as you are aware, it's a new UI to access the Linux systems. Server admins usually can access the Linux systems using the cockpit UI, and CML also has that cockpit UI. So it was very much accessible. So based on that, I also built the terminal to access Cisco devices, whatever the devices that are in the lab topology in the CML. So yeah, that was also a good learning experience. I mean, going forward, CML also became accessible. I mean, I am hearing they have implemented some accessibilities in 2.10 CML, but let's see. But for my exam, I had to build a customized web UI, and also I had a dedicated UCS server here. And I had to, before building CML web UI, I deployed all the routers as VM and put them on a flat vSwitch as if they are talking to each other. So that is how I practiced before.
And is this, so you mentioned that CML became accessible, or there is some level of accessibility now in CML. Is this after your feedback based on your experience?
Yeah, I mean, CML team heard they wanted to make it accessible since beginning, but yeah, it took them some time to make it accessible. I think, I mean, I would have been pretty happy they would have made it accessible before my CCIE, but at least they are making it accessible in 2.10. I mean, I don't know still how much it is accessible. I think it will be releasing this week or the next, in the month of April. I mean, there is a release candidate available. I didn't get time to test it, but I'm hoping it will be significantly accessible. But I don't think the terminal will be accessible because I have to use the same web UI which I have developed based on the cockpit terminal style.
And I just want to rewind a little bit. Just imagine this experience that you have. You basically had to write your own tools so that you can learn and eventually then get to the exam with the additional challenge that you have. So it's a lot more hurdles that you had to go through than other people. And I think this deserves a lot of respect and appreciation for all the work that you have done there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's pretty difficult. I am in Cisco. People appreciate me. People have a lot of respect. But very few here how I work. Still, they don't understand how I work, but just they know I work. How it happens, very few have idea about it. And even also listening to screen readers, I will be joking with my colleagues and friends. I will remove my headphones and put my screen reader out. So within 2 to 3 minutes, they feel like it's robotic. It's pretty difficult to get accustomed to it. Also, right? People feel that's my head starts aching. How you listen? I mean, I tell them it's like a same. I mean, even when you see screen for a long time, your eyes also gets strained. So instead of your eyes, my ears get strained. So how you look after your eyes, that's how. I mean, in the same way, I also have to look after my ears.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense indeed. And what would be some advice that you would give to other people that would be willing to go for CCIE but don't want to because they don't think they can because of any disabilities that they could have? Is there anything you want to tell them?
I also had the same feeling before, but what I heard or what I experienced, both are same. What I heard and what I experienced, both match. If you are putting effort, there will be people who want to help you. So whether they can be your colleagues, it can be your leadership, anybody who notices that you are putting your honest and sincere effort, there will be certainly people around to help you. So my colleagues are there here for me. I mean, in fact, my team, I tell, they are like for me my extended family. So I mean, they also helped me because when I was looking through this UI, if I open a web page, any UI, there is no directional awareness for me. So if I open a web page for a screen reader user, it will be a top to bottom or bottom to top. So if you tell me what is on the left side of the screen or what is on the right side of the screen, so it's a linear web page, is a linear reading for me. So because I got the help from my colleagues also, just to so that I will be aware how to guide to the scribe. So what is to the left, what is to the right, especially the GUI application, the vManage application. So they were patient to tell me when I am navigating with the keyboard, when I reach the right side, when I reach the left side. So I have to just by heart it, even though I was not directionally aware in which side of the screen some certain menus are located. Yeah, I mean, to answer your question in short, if people observe that you are putting sincere effort and you are really into it, you will get somebody who can help you out, who can encourage you to get into it and do it. So it's the first step is to we ourselves need to show that we want to do it. So if we don't want to do it, nobody else will come to you and force you. I mean, there will be some people who might ask you, who might push you, but if we ourselves take the initiative, you will find the resources, whatever resources you need. But yeah, I also want to clear one thing here. If I was not a Cisco employee, it would have been difficult for me because even the affordability of the exam cost itself is pretty high. I mean, considering the uncertainty here, I need not to pay anything, right? So as a Cisco employee, I get certain free attempts. So all that financial burden was removed. That financial stress that I need not spend from own pockets. So all those things matter because if I was outsider, even though I had this ability to learn practice, since I was not able to afford that much the financial thing, I still doubt whether I would have ventured to invest that much money to get a CC.
When you were telling your story, I mean, what came out in my ears is to other people what's your excuse, right, for not even trying. The only good excuse I would say, if someone is working for a third party or freelance, and it costs money to study for CCIE, to have the lab equipment, etc. So I think that's a good excuse. But I've heard like Cisco employees, who have all the advantages we have, like, oh no, it's too hard, or I don't think I can make it, which to me I think is mostly excuses for not putting in the work. Because I've seen people who I was not sure they could become CCIE, but just through hard work and motivation, they got it. And so hard work pays, and that's exactly what you said, right? You were like, oh yeah, but I have facilities at Cisco. Cisco helped me. Like it's not just me, but still, a lot of people have those and still are not studying for it. And you had so many obstacles that for you were not so much obstacles. Like, yeah, I'll just put hard work and it's going to compensate for that. And you just compensated a lot with hard work. Like, oh, the exam is not available for disabilities. Yeah, it's okay. I can work on it. Like this mentality of, oh, it's not a problem. It's not an obstacle. Let's work on it. I think that's, that's so powerful. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if Cisco provides, if we have here, we are in Cisco provides a lot of resources. And I mean, in order to grow yourself, why we should not invest, and why we should not utilize the opportunities that we get. So that was my mindset. I think you might have heard, I mean, since you are not here in Bangalore, and you might have heard, so it's like all other folks, including my colleagues or my leadership, so they celebrated as if their happiness. So my happiness was as if it was their happiness, as they were so happy. So which also makes grateful for all of them, to express my gratitude to them.
There's another question I have to ask is, do you plan, maybe not now, but in the future, to do a second one? Or you're like, I'm done,
Yeah,
I'm good now?
CCIE, yeah, certainly I will plan. I want to plan it as soon as possible, because I am already 39. I mean, I don't know, but people say after 40, your energy will gradually decreases, and your ability to study, your ability to sort of cope with that stress becomes reduced. I don't know how much scientific it is, but it's generally it is said. I mean, I don't know, but I just want to make, in couple of years, I will finish another one, at least CCDE. I'm aiming.
Wow, okay, that's impressive. I was completely the opposite. When I was done with my CC, I'm like, never again. I'm good now.
Okay. I have one more question. Like, how you do your work. Is there something that you think is missing that would help you work better in better conditions? Like something that you are lacking today that would help you?
I say this whenever I get opportunity. I mean, whoever it is, whoever is developing the applications, usually whenever you develop some training, some content, some application, usually it is meant for persons who use mouse. I feel like that all feel that there are no persons who use this application with a keyboard. So the factor of accessibility, following accessibility guidelines, does not happen most of the times in the development process of an application or a tool. So if this happens, whether it's an internal tool or external tool, if this thinking is integrated that this application is for everybody, for people who can see, people who cannot see, who can operate it with their keyboard. So if you have that universal accessibility mindset, that would be nice to have, because that will provide opportunity to other persons. I mean, we don't know. I feel that the persons with disability is still remains a largely untapped human resource. So, I mean, they might have skills, they might have talent, but that talent, that skill is not getting nourished, and it's not getting some exposure, a chance to demonstrate their abilities. So if we accommodate, I say accommodate, do not exempt us. This is called the reasonable accommodations. Then you will get a lot of CCIs like me. So there will be many other persons who can get CCI. I mean, in fact, who can be programmers, developers. There are examples out there who are very good developers, who are visually impaired persons. So it's just that making that environment, and that mindset, that there are persons who can do this work when they are also accommodated. So that notion should be inculcated by all the leadership team, or whoever has the authority to influence those decisions.
Yeah. And from from your experience and what you're saying, it looks like those are very small changes to do on the applications and on the tools so that they can empower a lot more people with disabilities to use them to do their best work. And that should really be the default. Like they should not need to write their own API or their own tool to have a simple tool that works for other people work for them.
They do. What happens is they do it when we reach out, right? They do it, for example, I reached out to CML person or any other person. Okay, they reach, when we reach out, they do. But the problem is there will be a lag because the application or software, the tool has been already developed up to a stage. So if you include this in the phase of your development cycle, at the beginning of development cycle itself, so you don't have to invest more resources, and plus you will make things accessible, and you are giving opportunity for other persons who are disabled and who are eligible, but they will not be hired because just your tools and applications are not designed keeping accessibility in mind.
Yeah, so you heard it here, like plan accessibility from the ground up of the application, not as an afterthought, because it's much effort.
Not as an afterthought. Yes, correct.
Yeah, well, I think that's it for me. I think it was great to hear from you. Thanks a lot again for spending time and sharing your experience in working and passing your CCIE, which once again, congrats for that. Yeah, it was great to have you.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you, Nico.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Cisco Tech Stories podcast. You can subscribe to us by searching for the channel called Cisco Tech Stories on your favorite podcasting app. We're also present on the Cisco Podcast Network channel, where you can discover other podcasts from Cisco. Feel free to leave us comments or questions on Spotify. Thanks, and see you next month.
They gather close, let the story begin. By the chai starlight and the morning wind, there walked Habib with a steady gaze, a network engineer through the crowded maze. He read those lines where the currents ran, like a farmer reads clouds with a weathered hand. He knew each tower, each bend, each fault, each hidden crack in the signal vault. When the roads were wet and the poles leaned low, he still kept moving slow by slow, with a tool bag worn and a shirt half dry, and a fire in his chest that would not die. He plowed through dust, through delay, through doubt, turned every locked up door inside out. From the first start mile to the final climb, Habib was ready for his time. Monsoon hit hard on the broken lane, still Habib went out in the pouring rain. A fallen line and a blackout call, he scaled that mast and saw it all. Mud on his shoes, but his mind stayed clear. He heard one failure and stayed right here. The office said, "Can you fix this mess?" He said, "Watch me now, I'll do my best." He traced that fall with a careful hand, made dead things awake in the stubborn land. Every snag he met, he cut it clean, like a blade through cloth, like a river stream. The junior man looked up and knew he never bent when the pressure grew. Step by step he crossed that fire, hard days only raised him higher. Stone by stone he built his name, through every storm he came the same. Habib go on, Habib go on, he breaks through walls and carries on. Habib go on, Habib go on, success is where his hands belong. Habib go on. Late night rooms with the blinking racks, he mapped the routes and got them back. No it grew. He says keep walking till it opens for you. Step by step he crossed that fire. Hard days only raised him higher. Stone by stone he built his name. Through every storm he came the same. Habib go on, Habib go on. He breaks through walls and carries on. Habib go on, Habib go on. Success is where his hands belong. Habib go on. Now the lane behind him sings his name. Not from luck, but the work and the flame. Every setback bowed, every doubt fell back. When the beat kept his faithful track. Keep moving. So if your path turns rough and steep, remember the seeds that honest hands keep. He plowed through stone, he crossed through strain, and made a harvest out of pain. Happy go